twist around it. We get Jace versus Zoe, and the Sylas versus the Nico. So definitely Nico outside the first couple of levels going to have some pushing options. Probably going to be Glacial Augment for the build, you would imagine, but for the early game it's going to be fine. Karthus first clear. Seems like it should be gotten away with scot-free. The 50 damage base nerf on that first ultimate is definitely still live. In case you guys are wondering, we have the patch info in the chat. It is, of course, 9/11, but the hotfix is alive. So the hotfix AP revert on the Requiem is there. It's only the 50 flat damage from the Karthus that is gone.
That is so. And we'll see if it does come into effect in this game. It's always fun to mention that, and then maybe watch a Karthus ult just get so close, but not quite close enough, and say, hey, if this were a different patch, things could have been different here. But see that on the side of Gen G, just doing Gen G things. Kive's back on Nico. Ezreal, Tom Kent, of course. Peanut on Lee Sin. The Kuzan showing off his Zoe here. So let's do it, guys. Kingzone's first game here in the LCK Summer up against Gen G. Off to a good start here already in the split. Let's hop into game number 1 right now. Wow.
The Gen G fans have been popping off in recent memory, and that was on display a couple of days ago. It's here now. Unsealed Spellbook is the choice from Tucson, and this is Tucson. Tucson is famous for taking Unsealed Spellbook whenever he feels he can get away with it. Do note, that means he doesn't have Aftershock.
Yeah.
The reason that he might be considering that is, what does a lane trade against Ezreal Tom Kench look like where Aftershock is relevant on the trade?
Yeah.
You outrange by an insane amount, actually proccing a stun and chasing down the Lux is so unlikely. Yes, if you Abyssal Voyage behind the Lux and get on top of her with the jungle, it's going to be a bad time. No Aftershock. But Aftershock is the lane guarantee summoner. They feel like the lane's just fine, so they drop the Aftershock, and while it's not the summoner airy solo queue choice, it gives a lot of flexibility to Kingzone's bot lane.
It's definitely very interesting, as you mentioned. They're not really going to be taking those kinds of trades. We see her, or Tucson, on the Lux start off with the heal, can swap to other fun stuff like teleports. He loves to get the teleport with that Unsealed Spellbook. Maybe he's going to swap to an Ignite if they want to get really aggressive, if something's going to happen where they have a chance to get a kill. But it'll be interesting to see how he does pilot that. Note that Life has his own Unsealed Spellbook, so he could see double smite in this game. See if that does actually happen.
And then a very skillful, everyone presses their button on the Drake and see what happens scenario. I'm with you, Valdez. That's one for you to look forward to. We're going to need to sort of replay it slowed down in order to work out who was guilty and who was not. I think it's a good read by Life. Allows him to go heal, so Ruler's teleport is complemented with a heal for the duo. And it's, again, you could, if you read this to be a very high pressure lane, and Lux usually represents that, feel like you had to take a laning summoner. So smart read from Life, knowing he's against Tucson, to know that he almost certainly would have the latitude to make his own Unsealed Spellbook choice.
Yeah, it's not the full old solo queue builds where you go like Arcane Comet or Dark Harvest. He's not quite going that far, but it's definitely a breath of fresh air for a champion that's already kind of a breath of fresh air in this kind of meta.
I do wonder, though, this was very unlikely for it to be Spellbook versus Spellbook support, given the champions. Was it more or less likely than mid lane? This is double Electrocute. Both Jace and Zoe have gone Electrocute here. The recent trend was Spellbook Zoe, because you can still get the more sparkles when you use those thrift shop summoners that you can pick up. Instead, it's the Electrocute, which we do see from time to time. The Electrocute Jace, bit of a different one, so adjustments a bit all over the place, and mid lane Jace from Neon to try to have pressure on that Zoe in mid.
Yeah, you were mentioning the Karthus start here was able to get that full clear plus the Scuttle Crab. Ruler here goes for the Arcane Shift forward and is going to pay with a bunch of damage for himself.
Game goes on. Kingzone are going to be pretty interesting to track. Jace plus Lux gives them some siege options. Sivir obviously on the team fight. side of things, and Karthus also. They kind of do both, but it means they don't have a set identity. They can kind of morph around. If you get a gold lead, your identity on paper doesn't matter, but it's just interesting to track. Now, Gen G Siege, very, very strong on their side, as Peanut's Q will go wide.
You can see that there was some question mark pings around this Scuttle Crab already. Cuz was able to get one on the bottom side, and Peanut had responded with his own full clear. But Lee Sin, a little bit slower than the Karthus, so Karthus was able to get that, but not able to pick up the second one. That would have been asking for a little bit too much, but will at least get a head start here on this clear.
Change in the Scuttle Crab spawn timing meant that farming junglers and fast farmers were in a pretty good stead. Given that Karthus does both single target and AoE camps really fast, the fact that he just has to interact later, there's not the forced interaction at 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, you don't have to draw in a laner, means that you just really do get to power farm. So yes, the Requiem nerf is a noticeable one and definitely removes a lot of global threat. It's 50 base damage on an ability that hits 5 people. It's 250 base damage removed when it comes to the team-wide equation. But the farming still happens and the level 6 comes early.
So LS, I'm sure he's out there watching, definitely going to be happy about this. That we do see the Karthus coming in, and a lot of camera around Nahyun I've been noticing as everybody's excited to watch Nahyun play and see what he's got, especially up against Kuzan, who's definitely a good mid laner, and so far he's doing Jace things, kind of what you would expect from him. It seems like his mechanics are on point for this champion.
Just a generally strong laner. They didn't want to give a free pass over to the Zoe. That's why the Jace was locked in here, and it's about 5 CS behind as the next minion wave will crash. Feels like his job is to, again, have priority, and as the game goes on, give them some siege options. That's what Jace, I think, represents. Teamfight-wise, Karthus and Sivir have that one on the docket as the game goes on. And walks up.
Ooh. I like that play. Read exactly when Kuzan was going to move forward for the CS, and then dodges the trouble bubble.
Gets a defensive ignite out of Kuzan as well, so that's actually a nice win there.
Absolutely.
The grounding and 99% slow means you're going to be hit by the future spells from Lux. So we're kind of surprised that we're still seeing so much Tahm Kench in Korea. There's just scenarios where the champion's auto-won against things like Cataclysm when he has his Flash and Devour up, that now you can't Flash during your Devour, so you are going to be accountable more often than not. With the Lux, this helps Sivir win the lane. I feel like the Lux's biggest thing is taking Unsealed Spellbook and just being annoying so Sivir can push up and wave clear away against the Tahm Kench. That's the involvement.
Take a look at the double teleport. We actually see Tucson going mid. So we'll see if maybe he wants to read when Peanut's coming in here and fight around the Scuttle, but that did not happen. I thought he'd just continue to TP bot, put on that pressure you were talking about.
Backing away here. I'm trying to think back to Nahyun's darker days, which of course were on the Origin squad that just couldn't do any winning a couple of years ago. I feel like Jace is one of the picks that he won on. I think he does have a career victory on that before he came over to Korea. He was on a Challengers team in summer last year before he joined Kingzone for the spring season. He didn't play many games there. We talked already about the Lulu ban because we, and Gen G apparently, had the idea that he would just be on Karma Lulu support duty next to Death, and the Sivir lock-in kind of added credence to that, but he's always played Jace through his career, so looking very competitive, and like you mentioned, we liked how he approached the one all-in against Kuzan.
We'll see how he can impress us in the future. So far, not too much action. You can see that Kingzone has a bit of a lead. Most of that is in the bottom lane, where the Sivir is doing well, but also slightly in the jungle, as Karthus will have that faster clear, and neither jungler has really made an attempt to go for many ganks. Peanut was hanging around the mid lane the one time, but nothing much came of it.
Which, free farm, you definitely take Karthus over Lee Sin. Lee Sin can, of course, still turn a game, the one-kick phenomena that we all know of, but the read from Cuz was, I'm not going to get punished for this. He is on the money about this.
He's got a lot of money, too. He's getting up there, just full clearing everything that he possibly can. He got another Scuttle in the top side.
We haven't had many Runic Echo junglers so far this season. A note that Runic Echo price was reduced by, I believe, 125. Means it's 2,500 gold, same as Cinderhawk. And the gold efficiency of this item is ahead of Warrior again. For the longest time, it was so overloaded in stats that Warrior junglers were being crowded out, then Warrior was buffed. And now the gold efficiency is back in the court of the Runic Echo. As walks up to start the wave clear for a moment here. If you don't have anyone on this side of the map, so they'll back away. Another small note is there's been actually in Korean solo queue a bit of Smite mid lane. Smite mid lane Orianna and other Smite mid laners, because the Runic Echo is so cheap and gives so many stats that some Korean mid laners, especially in solo queue, have been just taking Smite to get access to the item.
Naehan gonna take a huge amount. Speaking of Smite mid laners, Zoe has got one right now. Not her main, of course, but obviously doing a nice job here up against Naehan is going to use it there. Smites it down. That'll be a good trade for him, but Naehan has to go and buy anyway. First strike being a mountain. Kind of surprised that nobody's taken a stab at it just yet. And right as I say that, looks like Peanut is going to get this one started.
Didn't have priority bot lane, so there wasn't obvious time to rush down a Drake at 5 minutes spawn. They're on it now. Given the timings here, Death low mana. Jace on a recall. Very smart. Call from Gen G. This will be a free.
You can see the cleanses down from Naehan, and they probably had a good read on exactly when he was going to go back. And that's when the call does come in. So, a good first start here for Gen Z. Next is going to be Ocean Drake. But I'm more interested to see if anyone's going to make a move at that Shelly on the map at the top side.
I think Gen G, because they don't have Karthus Sivir win conditions, need to be the team to make more of the controlled aggression moves, which again, a bit unfamiliar territory for Gen G. It's not that they can't win team fights, the team fight is more reliable in my opinion. 3 items plus for the side of Kingzone. Gen G's biggest strength is when they finish GLP on Nico, the Ludens on the Zoe, and 2-item Ezreal, around 25k gold. They can do a lot, and they can also have a lot of pick power on someone trying to walk up. No one will have their damage items and be tanky to Gen G's earlier spikes, so let's see how much Gen G can do, because we're kind of knocking on the door of the part of the game where they have a lot of their advantages.
Tucson doing a lot of roaming in this game, and now Life in an awkward spot here, but
that's a fun thing to say out loud.
Yeah.
How's your life? Is it an awkward spot, Valdez? Are you feeling good?
It's in an awkward spot, for sure. Been traveling a bunch. Went to Thailand and China.
That doesn't sound awkward. That's pretty fun.
Just, you know, against the norm, right? Hanging out in Korea and playing games and talking about them. That's generally what the majority of us do.
As you get older, that's where the bubble goes wide here.
Snuck by.
I don't want to tell story over action, but it's the LCK. I'm probably fine. But
yeah, it's just funny that there's still no action even after MSI and patch changes. We just never seem to change here, probably.
And as you get older, one thing that does change, in my estimation, maybe this is an old man papa moment, is that when you're young, you're like, okay, I got away from work, I'm desperate to travel. Let's get out there, let's go and do the tourism thing, let's go see cool things and meet people. But as I get older, I also, if I do that, if I kind of go from work straight to a holiday, I then need a holiday, like a staycation at home, to get over all the travel. I'm like, oh man, I've been doing stuff for so long. Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just an old person thing. But
just to rest, or do you want to play games? Or
I mean, I think rest and games are kind of along the same ebb. I just don't want to have a very structured life after a structured holiday, let's say. So
I feel what you're saying, but mainly just because I didn't get to play a lot of games on my vacation, and I'm like, I need to play this. I missed out on so much.
You're talking about League of Legends, right?
Oh, yeah. It's the only game I play. Would never dream of anything else. And, well, speaking of which, we have a bit of a combo here, but Stopwatch, that's a good item. He's going to be able to get out of dodge here. Now, who's the real Peanut? Looks like that's Nico on the top side. Juve threatening here. Kuzan does get the trouble bubble onto Naehan, but not able to follow up with much damage. And Ruler already pretty low on that health. Tucson trying to land this one. Very extended fight, but Shelly is going to go down as Kingzone do get the better of the poke trades, and Gen Z kind of have to let that one go.
Kingzone was starting to look like they might allow the Rift Herald to reset, and it was looking awkward. If enough poke damage hits in that scenario, suddenly you have to let it reset and all the time is for naught. But we already talked about when did Gen.G amp up, the onus on them. It's not yet. They don't have those items done. And Deft's, he's in trouble.
Oh, he's going to dodge that one,
Maybe
though.
he's not.
I feel like he could have turned.
Deft made a huge unforced error, then a huge outplay. So
Yeah.
classic Deft things around that bottom lane play. All I'm saying is that Gen.G actually had to hit all their skill shots before the items are done to force the Rift Herald to reset. They didn't. And Kingzone kind of steal one under the noses of Gen.G.
Yeah, at least it is going to be after the plates do come down, so it's not going to be super high value, but they can definitely get something going if they get a gank. Maybe push onto one of these turrets. I think the bottom lane is the weakest, but Ruler here is alone. He has to get away by flashing as Light was in an awkward spot again. Not in the lane, not able to help out. And speaking of which, Shelly going to come down here with Cuz, and they will get the first turret.
And this is much more of a 1-2-3 because the walk up there is what allowed Tucson and Ruler to switch flashes. Teleport is down, so they're going to get a double charge here around Deft on this Sivir. Sivir's Essence Reaver, one item, got stronger. That's one of the big reasons we see Xayah and Sivir most games. The late game was already strong enough, Valdez, and if our early game gets even 5 AD stronger, you start to worry. The Sivir meta is upon us, and Deft is a very prominent Sivir player. I was casting LPL Spring 2015 when his famous Game 5 flash-in on Sivir got the pentakill against LGD to bring EDG and Deft his first title over in China.
The guy knows his Sivir, and it wasn't a surprise when we saw him hover it and then pick it. We haven't had a kill yet, but we have had some advantages go the way of Kingzone. Still waiting for the pop off from one of these two 80 carries. Which happy ending will it be? The Ruler happy ending or the Deft happy ending? Still waiting on that one.
Does that have a better name? Because Ruler ending versus Deft ending sounds weird. Happy endings have, of course, this connotation that makes them hard to talk about. So what's the best thing to call it? I think we just have to dodge the Korean analogy completely. And
you mean we shouldn't call them fairies, or?
No, I think the fairies also. Why can't we just say
maybe
in Deft we
scrap
trust?
That one too.
In Deft we trust versus in Ruler we trust. I feel like that gets the point across. Language is hard, it turns out, especially when it's two different cultures.
Some things, you know, just don't have the same connotation when you're talking about it in another language. We like our Konglish over here. That's going to be the way it is.
We do have a
team
team called
side.
Rolster. And every time I say this out loud, someone's hearing it for the first time. It's short for roller coaster, in case you're wondering.
Yes. Not Lulster.
No,
although,
that's just short for Twitch chat.
Yeah. Lots of creative names in the chat. I was enjoying them while watching you guys cast the first couple of days. I really like you calculated. You know, for you, Cal, whenever he pops off, you calculated.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I feel like his negative ones might not be broken. There's EU Cal, which they can't really use anymore. That used to be funny.
They should use that when he pops off now.
That's true.
Well, we have a Magi Soul Stealer here for big old Karthus.
Do you know what? Wouldn't it be awesome if we went over to Cuz's OPGG and he was only playing Yuumi and Karthus and just picking up Medjais every game? Because Yuumi always picks up Medjais as how you're going to kill the cat. There's bigger problems if Yuumi's dying. Meanwhile, this is just a confidence purchase. He has no stacks on it. Why did he finish it?
There have been 0 kills, 0 assists.
This is a bloody game. I better pick up my Medjais, said Cuz.
Maybe it was the reverse psychology. It's like, well, nobody's died yet, and I haven't died yet, so this is a good choice.
This is like Peter Griffin being encouraged to get volcano insurance in an area where there wasn't an active volcano on the basis of, weren't you overdue for a volcano eruption?
He's due for some kills, right? Doesn't matter if he gets nerfed.
We're in Korea, so are we ever due for kills? We can ask for a lot of things, but increasingly kills is not something we're allowed to ask for.
Cuz is just getting excited watching other regions, I guess. Although, still waiting on that LEC that's going to happen tonight.
With a game like this, we might be closer to it, Valdez.
Hey, Rascal's getting in there, but the binding on the Cuvee.
Karthus ult. Cuvee needs to back.
Okay.
He didn't back.
And now Cuvee does have the stopwatch. So that's going to be anticlimactic there, but they do get the stopwatch at least, as now Tucson has to cleanse out of that one. Oh, if that hit, he was dead, but now maybe it's Kuzan who's going in the death chamber. See you later. 500 gold is going to go over, and Cuz is going to put that wall down, and he's staying alive. That's exactly what he wants. Nothing can hit this Karthus, but a lot of stuff going to hit a lot of the other members on the side of Kingzone, as now they're on the run. Here comes Cuvee, but that's a big wall. Gonna cut them all off from that one, and Ruler even taking near lethal damage.
Rascal went down as well, so 1-for-1 overall. We've been waiting for the action, finally granted to us. 2 stacks on the Soul Stealer. Hashtag worth, says Cuz. He's going to buy a stopwatch. I imagine plenty of Zonias and different types of stasis this game. Gonna watch the replay. Definitely understood the theory here, but stopwatch is a girl's best friend when the Karthus on the ring. The play went on. You understood what everyone was trying to do. Nayeon coming in late does allow him to almost 1 rotation. Kuzan on the back end. Lots of almost deaths, but only 2 overall.
Yeah, they get the Zoe. And then I think we had Ruler TPing in there. He misses his ult onto the Karthus as well. He really didn't want to lose those 2 stacks.
Ruler went for a high damage build here. No Iceborne Gauntlet against Jace Sivir. He has gone for the Trinity Force. Doesn't give you that armor during laning phase, but confident to go towards that anyway. So he hits like a truck right now if he has enough time. Operation Kill Ruler in full effect.
You know who really likes Infernal Drake is Silas, Karthus, Jace, Sivir, and Lux. And they're really making a move towards it here. As a good move, I'd say, by the side of Gen G, especially Ruler looking to pull that, or rather push that lane in, but ends up taking a big chunk in the end. As fortunately, Kuzan has not been too on point with the Zoe just yet, but how is this one going to go down? It is going to go the way of Peanut. Tonight his smite is on point, but now the ult is coming in, and the big boom of damage is going to get the 2 kills with the help of Death. They will pick up 2 on the side of Gen G.
It wasn't a Requiem for a Dream, it was a Requiem for a double. 1 kill to him, the assist would do just fine. They're going to run straight at Baron.
Might as well. Don't even need that Mountain Drake. You have a Karthus, you have insane damage in your comp, and they're going to go for it. We'll see if Peanut can pull off another miracle.
All right, Peanut watching on, has Smite available, so does Cuz. Baron already at 6,000. The high damage team loves Infernals. It does Baron fast too.
Peanut now doesn't have his Q down, but the good binding, can they burst it in time? Peanut's not going to get in range, and Cuz will be able to pick it up. Now Cuz even trying to trade some more damage, but it's going to have to be fine with the Baron.
They can't even take him down on the back end of it. Ruler went down as well. The plan's coming together. We laughed at the Medjais before, but now with a Baron later, things starting to come together for Kings. We're going to watch the replay. Like you said, they would love an Infernal. Peanut plays this well. 83. He waits 83 health, like you mentioned. But on the back end, it doesn't matter if you can't connect with lethal damage to start. Let me introduce you to the Requiem. On the back end of the play as well, Ruler has to stick around and poke. That's his job. That's his requirement after his allies went down. Rascal played this well. This was off screen. The kick into the finish with the Kingslayer. That's not the deal you're used to after a kick, but it works damn well.
You're talking about those wild cards up in the top side. Rascal and Cuz, the 2 of them here, are just putting on a masterclass so far. Kind of looks like they're smurfing in this game with the way they're playing. But let's see if they can put an end to it as well, as Cuz not dying yet. He's got 8 stacks, and guess what his next item is going to be? It's going to be that sweet hat. He's not wasting any time, just piling on the damage. Someone get LS on the phone.
Well, we'll get him in the studio for tomorrow. That's my promise to you, dear viewer. I never considered this, but remember, famous combination is kick into the resonating strike from Elise. Kingslayer also does more damage when they're at low health, so the synergy there was the extra burst that got the kill. Kingzone get to walk up, and with 5 points in the prismatic barrier, the shield that comes through from the Lux with some shielding strength as well. The siege isn't as obvious as Nico, Zoe, and Ezreal, but the shielding helps it out, Valdez.
Yeah, and Nahan does a lot of damage already. Didn't seem to need to get that Infernal Drake as he's already popping the Nico for half her health. And with the help of Rascal here, he's got to be really careful. So the push is on with the Baron. Not quite able to get a strong push in the mid lane, actually, as Nahan was trying to siege in the bottom lane and get that lane as pushed as possible. Here's Peanut trying to set something up, but where's his team? Where is everybody? They're trying to catch up now to Peanut, but he's going to be punished now as nobody was quite able to catch up to the Lee Sin.
That was just, unfortunately, Peanut and his team being disconnected. Went for a kick just because he hit the first part of it, but never put that second thought of who's going to follow up on it. Ruler had to shift over a wall just to hit a minion on the way to trying to do damage to the kick target. That means 5v4, and this is before a Requiem tried to zone away with Lux under no pressure. The siege is not trivial because Sivir and Jace do good turret damage but don't have the range. But given that Naeon was able to split away in a 5v4, Rascal pushes in an inner. The inhibitor turret almost goes down, all because Peanut's life is void.
And it is going to go down. The final shot there of the cannon minion. And speaking of which, how about another turret here in the mid lane? This Baron getting so much value. Take a look at that Baron power play. 5.5 thousand. As this time Peanut is going to hit depth with his resonating strike, but he's not going to continue on that one. So
with all the siege tools here, Gen.G, if they got a Baron, would have been even more vicious than what we saw from Kingzone's Baron. But Kingzone, they rode the line. Team fighting and sieging was what they had in their comp. And usually when you scatter your identity like that, you actually end up less than some of your parts. But Kingzone outplayed. That play around the Drake with the early Requiem has gotten them so much, and then you make a mistake against the Baron, shouldn't be surprised when your base is in tatters.
And now Cuz has the death cap. Just picked it up on his last back. Stumped all of the gold that he could into that one. And now with another Infernal coming up here, let's see how Gen.G want to approach this. Down 8,000 gold almost. But they're still going to start up this Drake, and you'll notice that Kingzone staying together as a team. They want to get to the bottom side of the Dragon Pit because they'll be able to spread out the most. And okay, Life going to be in an awkward spot here. Mayhem's trying to block there with the Edge of Night. Depth chunking this one down. Cuz going to take a bit of damage there. And the poke trades are coming in. Kuzan actually eats a bunch of damage from Tucson already. And that Drake will release. Big Lux shields never seeming to stop in this one as the Drake is getting low. Will go the way of Karthus this time around. Already Def doing a lot of damage there. Cuz looking for some extra poking, but they'll be happy with the Inferno.
From ahead, Lux looks so broken because in a poke versus poke war, the constant uptime on a 400 plus shield is just obnoxious. It means that none of Gen.G's poke is sticking, only the burst onto Cuz. Means they don't go for the desperate engage onto the Infernal. That's an answering Infernal. More percentages for the now sweet hat Karthus. Just hit level 16, load up, press R, and zone Gen.G away from objectives.
Early elixir here from the side of Cuz. Kind of knows that he wants to win this next fight. We're going to have the Baron coming in here in 15 seconds. If he can have that extra little bit of damage to zone them away, just that much better. It's better to go for that instead of like an ability tome. And speaking of which, we have Life and Ruler in a ton of trouble here. Ruler is going to be able to get out with the flash, but that is 3 summoners burned by the Gen.G bot lane.
Double flash from the bot lane. Oh boy, that's something that you can't return to. Karthus, not a great face checker. One of his few downsides at this point in the game.
He's not a big fan of bubbles either.
No.
He likes death and doing damage and, you know, not so much bubbles.
No, he's very morbid, actually, is Karthus. Always talks about death. I like people who are multifaceted. He's only got one thing going on in his life.
Well, at least he knows what his one thing is, you know? Identify what you're good at and then do that one thing.
What are you good at, Valdez? What's your one thing? You're a caster, a great caster, but what is that your one thing? Is it casting? Or do you have this secret skill that the LCK fans don't know about?
I wouldn't say it's casting yet. I don't think we've quite gotten there. That's not my one good thing. I'm good at sleeping. I like playing hockey. That's another good thing that I do. What's your good thing, Papa?
Insulting people.
You are very good at that, actually. I will agree.
That's all I got in my life. I'm also very one-sided.
Papa's got a side he never knew existed. So wholesome on the broadcast.
But Roscoe's got a side we didn't know existed, and Cuz especially, right? These are the guys who we pondered on, who we saw slowly start to ramp up over LCK Spring. And now, I think Cuz and Roscoe are just pretty good. We don't know their ceiling just yet, but their floor has gone from losing both sides of skill matchups to actually just generally performing well.
These guys are popping off. Said they kind of looked like they were smurfing. It has more to do with the way they're playing rather than the fact that they're getting a billion kills or anything like that. Just insane amount of confidence and poise with which they are playing, but let's see how this Baron fight is going to go down here. Cuz is going to eat an insane amount of damage to start off.
Spitter there used by Juve in order to try to see his ally. Got TP out from Tucson. Just went for another shot to get some more control war. Tucson, he's dead, he's dead.
Oh, and the shield was about to get back, but take a look at this. Nahan, he wants to protect his team. He's the starter now. And that means that Kingzone, they're going to pull the trigger. No flash here on life. He's going to go down, and the heal is not going to help him out. So another big pick there, but the bubble does come in. Nahan will be able to get out of dodge.
Man, the lull state was just completely revamped in an instant when the damage burst down. One on each side. Couple members down, though. Peanut trading his life for Tucson, not ideal. Further kill onto life. Medjai's is getting to gold efficiency, as we can see. 12 stacks, my favorite number. They don't have the 2 inhibitors down at the moment. I'm saying 12 is my favorite number, not 12 stacks of Medjai's.
Okay.
But they're going to try to rush the Baron, and the damage to the Baron is real high.
It is, but take a look at the damage to Cuz here. He's nearly going to go down, and if Ruler spots him, he's got to stay for the smite, but he can't get it, but it still goes down to the side of Kingzone. Big Requiem comes in. Look at that huge damage. And now Ruler is on the run, and Rascal once again is just rolling face onto this Gen Z squad. They're going to have catfish for dinner tonight again. And that means that Ruler and Peanut still on the run here, as Rascal is going to official voyage into the mid lane. This guy just can't get enough at this point. Now Peanut trying to bite the bait here of Tucson, whereas the rest of Kingzone, they don't really care about the kills.
They're just ensuring that Ruler doesn't get it back off because they know they can win on this push. I hear Deft shouting. I think he's shouting a shout of victory.
Turns out to be the Deft ending after all. Believe in Deft, they said. But it didn't end up him being the big carry this time around. Kingzone as a whole make a very big statement here in game number 1.